Stage 3 B9 SQ5. After how many miles should the injectors be swapped out before failure? I would say at least 1,000,000.
Definitely
Just to
before
be
that. Yeah,
safe.
let's put
Yeah,
that.
there's no mileage number, and it has less to do with miles. I do think that if you had an engine that was running on laboratory grade filtered fuel, that the injectors would last forever. The issue is you're in the real world, driving around in a very dirty environment. When I say dirt, I mean small particulate matter that can get into your fuel system. You're pumping out of gas stations with God only knows what's going on in their tanks, out of trucks that have been transporting fuel, and God only knows what's in their tanks, made in a factory, which God only knows what happened. So there's just a lot of variables. The fuel filter system is supposed to deal with all that stuff. Then there's the issue of fuel deposits, building up inside the injector, types of varnish or carbon that can accumulate on the tip of the injector. So with that said, I think it's a good idea to frequently log your car. We can help you with that if you need a log review. Make sure that your vehicle's fuel system is operating correctly. The injectors are not that expensive. They're not cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than a blown motor. So I think if you just, you could have two sets. There's places that can do ultrasonic cleaning on them. You could swap them out every 50,000 miles. Not a bad idea on these vehicles, especially when you're close to the margin of, to the limit. You want that margin of safety. Having good clean injectors is a good idea, and I think they can get gummed up in as little as 50,000 miles. So, there's no firm. These are just rules of thumb, and rules of thumb are pretty useless. There's one really good rule of thumb that rules of thumb are bullshit. But if you want to be safe, if it was an airplane, you'd probably be putting in new injectors every like 10,000 miles.
And it's one of those things where with these higher and higher output vehicles, you've really got to pay attention to the vehicle. If it's giving you signs where something didn't feel right or it's not normal, or if there's any questions, don't press and press and press until there's a bigger problem. You've got to kind of step back and we can help you kind of figure out if it's something to take care of or not.
We've literally had customers tell us like, I was driving the car and all of a sudden the engine started hesitating. So I stopped and did a 1/4 mile run just to see it and blew up the engine. It's like, okay, well, that hesitation was a huge red flag that something is going wrong. And so you don't want to do the most destructive thing to your engine when you think there might be something wrong. So take a step back, contact us, maybe do some light logs and build up to it, but you're gonna see that that the engine's not running right. You're gonna feel that misfire. You're gonna feel that reduction of power.
I mean, these outputs we're in now are very high power per liter. It's something you just gotta stay on top of the maintenance, and you've got to respect what's going on in the motor.
Yeah, it's like being on a deck and being like, I don't know, I was out on the deck and I heard a cracking sound, so I started jumping up and down as hard as I could, and it ripped off the side of the house. Like, yeah, no shit. So yeah, just use common sense if you have it, and we're certainly always here to help. But it's always a good idea to hesitate until you're sure that nothing's wrong. But yeah, going back to the injector thing, I think I would swap. I would have two sets, and I would swap them every 30 to 50,000 miles. And the B8's not a ton of work, is it?
He's B9
or B9.
B9 isn't too.
B9 is not too bad. You want to make sure you've got
hours.
good injector seals and all that, and they need like rebuild kits when they're getting swapped.
It's just expensive.
Not if you clean them. If you buy a set and then you just have them ultrasonically cleaned every once in a while. You spend the money once, and the cleaning's relatively cheap. Yeah, I wouldn't unless the injector's actually bad. There's no reason to just toss them every time.